Hey there, Kenneth French of Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. We're very, very happy you stopped by. Either you're going to watch this or listen to this because you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably an entrepreneur who's either just starting out or you've been around for quite a while and you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably a real estate investor, maybe even a real estate agent, maybe a professional or of some sort, professional advisor of some sort. And well, you are stopping by because you need some valuable advice from one of the top industry leaders there is. Anyway, thank you very much. Once again, Kenneth French, Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Really glad you stopped by. Out with the big lawyer in the sky. I couldn't think of a good nickname, so I'm just, dude. Let's just go with it. Chris Johnson's, I was referred to him because he's a well-known attorney who is a graduate from the top of his class. Not only does that mean that does sound cool, but really what matters is that he adds value to his business owner clients. And I know he's got them all over the country, but specifically works in, I think, Texas and Florida, if I remember. But anyway, he's the man. He's going to add some value in 15, 20 minutes. Let's get right to it. What's up, Chris?
Hey man, how are you? Did good job with that because yes, top of the class matters to some when you're graduating from law school. Those prestigious law firms care about things like that, but for actual clients, they could freaking care less where you ranked in your class. They just want someone that does good legal work and understands their business.
Yeah, tell me about the legal work you do, because it was explained to me that you're a very, very, very good attorney. But what does that mean? I mean, yeah, it sounds cool, but what does that really mean?
So I'm a civil attorney that does not do any personal injury work, that does not do any family work, and criminal doesn't fall within civil anyway. So I'm a business attorney. I only focus on representing businesses and entrepreneurs. I do corporate and mergers and acquisitions primarily, but mergers and acquisitions has a lot of different disciplines within it, such as real estate, employment, and I even know a lot of litigation too. I started my career, cut my teeth doing litigation. So really, I know most things civil related, and I have a team of attorneys that help me do work that I could do or do things I can't do. Like I'm not a securities attorney. I have a securities attorney that helps with that. I am not a probate attorney. I have probate attorneys that help with that.
Yeah, let's talk about M&A because I just remember the fact that you do a lot
Yeah,
of
let's do it.
M&A. So we have a lot of clients who are getting old. They're I should say getting old. I can't believe I just said that. Maturing, let's just say, looking to sell their practice. We have a lot of real estate agents, over 2,000 real estate agents who are going to be hopefully listening to this, and they're getting to the point where
Nice.
they want to sell their business. Let's just say, I think that's
Nice.
what you do. So give us an example. Add some value to us as far as me wanting to sell my practice, and you hopefully making sure I make as much money as I can on that sale.
Right. Okay. So first of all, start thinking about these things about 5 years out from the time that you want to sell your practice. Start understanding what makes your business a business and not just an extension of you. What actually adds value to someone buying a business? And I like to think about it. Um, the the ultimate position a buyer can be in is simply like if it were a turnkey rental property almost like I'm going to buy this business and I'm just going to collect a check every month. So that means to do that, that means that the seller of the business had to have built structures and systems in place and elevated to them to the point where they can remove themselves from the business. So I would say a really great book on something like that is Clockwork. So now I'm getting into like all this business system process stuff that actually ties into making a business more marketable and sellable. I would also listen to podcasts. I love, what's his name? He wrote Build to Sell. I'm drawing a blank on the name, but he has a podcast out there. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, sure.
I would have it on my bookshelf, but I moved all my books up to my lake house recently. I told you I was having some personal things going on, but yeah, John Warrilow. That's it, John Warrilow. So I would educate yourself on those things and then start thinking about what kind of things, and this is consistent with what I just said, making your business more sellable, getting your SOPs in order, which is like your instruction manual for your business, thinking about the different things you're going to sell that's valuable to them. So like trademarks for your clients, the real estate people, you might have like a trademark that adds value to the business that you're going to add as an asset And then talking to someone like me, I don't have much work to do 5 years in advance, but once we get down to selling, can really help you explain the process. And if you go on my YouTube channel, there's actually a video called How to Sell Your Business. And I go over a lot of these things in more detail that you should start thinking about right now. But you have a decision. You know, you definitely need an attorney on the team. Well, I say definitely. I believe definitely. Sometimes business brokers won't want to use an attorney. They'll use like a middleman attorney that they'll pay like a nominal fee to do a middle of the road agreement.
Hmm.
I've found that those oftentimes don't work out well. I still think the best thing to do is each side has their own attorney to protect their own interests.
Yeah, no, I think it's smart to. This is going to shock you, and you're going to like this. It makes sense to meet with you early, way before 5 years, as an example. Maybe even, I know this is going to shock you. Maybe even meeting with you before, no, right after starting a business. Because if you
Yeah,
think about it, you want to optimize your rate of return when you're selling your business. And what's the way to do that? Having touch points or milestones all the way along the way. Because I don't want to have a company that's worth, I'm making this up, $1 million when I could sell it for $2 million. But if I
right.
optimize it all the way, every step of the way through, I'll make more money, and therefore my rate of return on my cash is that much better.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 100%. Can't disagree on that.
Yeah, I like what you're saying about SOPs. We at vastsolutionsgroup.com, we have obviously we have to have SOPs because that's the reason, and we do it based on artificial intelligence, which has helped us along the way. Business automation makes for a more expensive business when you sell it. You know what I
Right,
mean? Yeah, yeah.
right.
And by the way, we are big proponents of eMyth. I don't know, Michael Gerber's eMyth.
Yes, I've read that one too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what are some other
I've read
key?
the E Myth and the E Myth Revisited. I guess was the update.
Yep, yep, yep. Very good book. Both of them very good book. So, what are some
I
other
think.
key? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go.
So I just naturally did what he said. So when I read the book, I kind of realized that I naturally did it. I think it's super helpful for probably the average employee. Um, but see, it's funny when you see people and they start a business. I would say, I would say 7 times out of 10, you ask them, why'd you start a business? And they're like, to make more money. And I did not start a business to make more money. Like I was already making pretty good money. Like I was a partner at an international law firm. But what I didn't have was any time or any control. So, and I was burned out to add to that. So 120% of my time was taken. I had zero time on something else. So what I want, the reason I started well, I went back into business. I did start a business at 20, but the reason I left big law to start my own businesses was to recapture my time and create real businesses. So like I'm saying, that whole purpose of that book, E-Myth, is essentially get yourself out of your business. And
Mm-hmm.
from the very beginning, everything I designed, everything I did was with that being the number one purpose. The money was secondary.
That's what I mean. That's exactly what you're saying. So, meaning if you start backwards to beginning, meaning employing you early
Yeah.
on, it'll make that much more sense down the road. By the way, you mentioned
Yeah.
a YouTube site. How does someone find that? How does someone get a hold of you if they're interested in,
Okay.
an M&A deal or whatever?
So all the M&A videos are on johnsonlaw.com, but my last name's Johnsen. It's a Scandinavian spelling. If you go
Okay.
in, I think they're even playlisted by maybe mergers and acquisitions or M&A. So there's how to buy a business, how to sell a business. There's all shorts, things like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, and I think it makes a lot of. Not only does it make sense to work backwards to forwards in effect by looking to sell your business. Also, you have to look at the finances of it. I think a lot of people forget about that. Really, because all you are as an entrepreneur is you're an investor. You're just investing in one specific line of business
That's
or selling
that's
that
right.
widget. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, that the money piece is just as important. So I would think um, the number one deal killer, and I have a video where I mentioned this too. Number one deal killer is messy books, and
Oh, look
so
at you! Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I have so because it's a reflection of your business. It's a true reflection too. When the buyer goes and asks to see the books and they do due diligence, they're going to look at how many mistakes are in there. They're going to question the numbers. And if things are really messy, the more they're going to question, the more time it's going to take you to answer the questions, the more expensive that it's going to be. So that is one of I didn't mention that, but that's one of my recommendations 5 years in advance too, is get your books in order, get them nice and clean, and start paying taxes. So, if it's almost like you're getting a loan from a bank too, right? That's one of the things that the bank's like, well, this is great that you don't pay taxes. You have all these write-offs, but we want to see money. We want to see you paying taxes.
Yeah, you're playing right and right, and I didn't pay you to say that, by the way. That's
Not at all, not at all.
because we do tax, finance, and artificial intelligence, but we also, the tax component is very important to us. If we can help a business owner pay tax, but also bookkeeping, if we could help clean up bookkeeping, the books as they sell the business, who knows? Maybe you can end up, having again, maybe instead of a $1 million business, you could end up selling for $2 million because your books are clean, etc. Wow, this is like a perfect line.
It really does make a big difference. It honestly does.
All right. So, and wait a minute. You also mentioned insurance. What do you mean by that? It sounds like you do insurance.
So I'm a big believer in infinite banking. Let's see, I have an islet for myself, like a fully funded policy. Well, I guess it's not for myself, it's for my kids. I don't have any control over it. I've also got like I got policies on my kids that I own that I plan to give them. That's just to teach them about the infinite banking concept, and then I have other policies too. So I use it for myself. I wish I knew about it when I was like 20, which is the point of me having the policies on my kids, because I want to teach them at 20. So I'm a big believer. So yeah, it's a small company. It's a company affiliate relationship, and I push through insurance policies just specifically for our high net worth clients.
Yeah, go. Why don't you explain it? Because we don't have enough people who we've talked to about that. I mean, we probably should.
Oh,
And we're all insurance licensed. But why don't you go ahead and mention it, especially because you actually believe in it so much that you have one. So go ahead and let's
okay.
chat about infinity banking.
Okay, so there's two components of life insurance. There's the death benefit and there's the cash value. Okay, so portion of the premium goes to each one, and it can be designed so more goes to the cash value. Now, the thing with most insurance agents is they are compensated, their commissions are based on the portion of the premium that goes to death benefit. Okay, so there's an incentive to give more death benefit and less cash value. And I'm not saying here that death benefit is per se wrong. So don't read into that. Actually, let me clarify. And I'm a finance major. I am the biggest believer in diversification in everything,
Mm-hmm.
in investments, in insurance, in everything. I think you kind of have pieces of each, but there's a purpose for this infinite banking. So you design the policy to put more into the cash value, and you can design it so you can put some of your savings and stuff. You can front load it, and in a short period of time, you can build a large policy, a large cash value policy. Now, what I needed to understand about this, because I typically hate insurance. It's like, a hurricane just hit here and you're hearing about all these people, their claims denied, or the deductible's more because it's a hurricane wind damage and it's not normal wind damage. And there's all these exclusions and it's so confusing. So I typically hate insurance.
Yeah.
But what I learned about the cash value is that it's essentially my money. That was the biggest thing that took me that deterred me from it, is because I wanted money in my checking account or my savings account. I didn't want it in this other policy. But here's why it's beautiful. So it has, in most states, I'm not going to say all. I don't know what Seattle has. Sometimes these states on the West Coast, you guys have some wonky laws.
You're a little weird.
But in Florida, Texas, I can tell you it's essentially anything in your life insurance policy, that cash value is protected from creditors. So now you're building a bucket, remember diversification of money that's protected, no one can take from you. So is it really yours? It's yours to the extent that if you're 90 years old and you're just diagnosed with terminal cancer and you have a year to live and you're like, you know what? I got 500,000 cash value in this policy. I'm going to just have the time. Like, screw it. These kids are good enough. They don't need to inherit 2 million. So what happens is you take the cash value out and it comes off the death benefit. So essentially is your money. You can borrow from this and you can decide not to repay it. Now, it's better to repay it if you're looking for long-term growth. So I just addressed this point that it is your money. So why would I have the money here versus in a savings account? Well, not only the asset protection, but because I can start leveraging my money like the bank. So I've now jumped to this point of what I call it infinite banking. So the policy can be designed when you're doing infinite banking. So when you have an outstanding loan, you're still getting dividends on that cash as if there is no loan. So all that money is still compounding at a rate of return. There's different kinds of policies. For purposes of what I believe in, I'm conservative when it comes to insurance. Now, I am cool with diversification. So if someone wanted to get an index life insurance and then also like a dividend, then that's fine. But I like the dividend. I like just the traditional whole life. It gets a boring 6% guaranteed return because for me, I'm not looking for outsized returns here. I can have my money in the stock market. I could do private equity. I could do real estate. I could do my businesses. For me, I just want a solid death benefit. I want solid dividends, and I want to be able to draw the money for myself and then pay myself back. So for instance, if I want to buy a house, I have 20% I have to put down. So I need $120,000. I can choose cash or I can choose to borrow from myself. So when I borrow from myself, I'm now paying myself back but getting dividends at the same time. That means that the spread between the rate that I'm paying myself back is probably 1%. So now I'm getting 1% loan and it's not my cash money that I could be using elsewhere. So that means my internal rate of return on that to myself is pretty exponential. And this is how banks think. This is how banks leverage themselves to make more money than they really make because they're getting astronomical IRRs or internal rates of return, which is essentially how much actual cash, like equity, are you using to generate these returns versus borrowed money and debt and things like that. And that is infinite banking.
Yeah, we have one client who actually I just got an email from him saying thank you, where he said thanks. But basically, he's he put in money into a defined benefit plan. We have an actuary, so we do a lot of those. And it was a big number. I don't remember the net number. Let's say it's $200,000 in DB plan. So he got a big deduction. He's in California, so let's just say he saved whatever $80,000 net, right? So he basically put that money into the life insurance policy, and he's going to do it on an annual basis. So basically, the government's paying for him to put in money into a life insurance policy, right?
That's awesome.
By the way, and basically what he's going to do is he's going to leverage that, get a loan on top of that for whatever piece of commercial real estate or whatever, theoretically, and then down the road pull money out and still have a little bit of a death benefit, although he's a little bit less concerned about the death benefit now. But anyway, basically it's like the government's paying for him to have the life insurance policy, at least kind of. And at the same time, he's doing the infinite banking using the bank's money or his own, not his money, to continue getting money from the policy, et cetera, going forward.
And what we talked about is kind of scary. And let me address this with the audience because you hear us talk about it. Maybe I clearly articulated it. Maybe I didn't, but I certainly know there was a lot of information. How do you know who to believe? And especially in today's day and age where there's so much information out there, I had to find someone that I trusted because these things can be designed in a bunch of different ways. So my only point is find someone that you know and trust to put you in the right policy. Maybe someone you know that already is doing this that can give a referral to their person is very strong. And then a book I loved is called Live Your Life Insurance. Other books are recommended on infinite banking. I like Live Your Life Insurance. Does a fantastic job in explaining it. It's maybe like 80 pages or 100 pages. It's real short.
Hmm. And who's it by the way?
I don't remember. I just remember the title.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. So
It was amazing.
you're an attorney. Chris Johnson's an attorney who does M&A stuff, does insurance stuff, infinite banking, so kind of financial planning. You can't use that term. Financial advising. So you're kind of the man. You're kind of the one-stop shop for a lot of things, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. But I don't do financial planning. I just love it. So I talk to clients about it. I love it. I'll talk to them about self-directed, things like that. It's just what I enjoy. It's in my universe of people that I hang out with, the clients that I do business with.
Yeah, alternative thinking, because a lot of people don't know about, believe it or not, about self-directed investing. We're big believers in that. You should know about
Yeah.
it. I mean, it helps to have an advisor. Believe me. We also have an financial advisory arm, but at the same
A
time,
hundred percent.
hey, you're good to go.
Remember diversification? If someone came to me and said, should I do all my money in a self-directed, all my money doing that in private equity or real estate or whatever it is? No. I mean, honestly, I believe that before you do anything else, you should have 6 months cash reserve and you should have like an index, boring ass. I call it the boring ass index portfolio strategy, just like an S&P 500. People are freaking out right now about the market. I could barely know what's going on with it because I don't care. In like 5 years, this is going to be a blip in the radar.
Yeah.
So that's your core diversification. But yeah, self-directeds are amazing to add to that.
I totally agree with that, man. A lot of you and I obviously see a lot alike. We only have a few minutes, but what I would say is, what's one last tip that you would give to a business owner that you think can really add value based on stuff either we have talked about or have not talked about? Send them packing with some one bit of knowledge from your brain.
Invest in yourself, and it's we talked about ROI a lot, but the ROI in investing in yourself through more than just learning your craft and trade. Like that's cool. Like that's almost a given. But I'm talking about mindset. I'm talking about surrounding yourself with people better than you, people that can teach you new things, that can open these doors to the realm of possibilities and what you understand. That to me is where exponential returns happen.
Look at Chris. Add some value. Last minute, add some value. I like it. One last time, how does someone get a hold of you?
You can go to johnsonlaw.com, JOHNSCN law.com. There's a scheduling widget. Schedule a 15-minute talk, consultation, whatever it is. I'm happy to talk to anyone free of charge.
The people you're looking for, mainly, obviously, business owners, probably well-heeled business owners who are looking for some added value elements as far as they might need legal help, they might need M&A help. Sounds like a little bit of insurance help. Pretty much any other things I'm leaving out that you'd suggest reaching out to you about?
And there's all kinds of stuff. I own a title company, so I have this whole like real estate business on the side where I'm involved with brokerages and realtors and all that stuff. If you're in the business world or real estate world and you want to talk to a lawyer or to me about anything, just feel free to schedule a talk.
Wow, nice, man. I really appreciate you offering that to the people, and I think our marketplace. I mean, we have whatever 983 clients that are actually clients in the U.S., and all of our clients are really real estate investors, solopreneurs. So I'm sure some of them would be benefiting by reaching out to you.
Nice.
All right, dude.
Love
All
it.
right.
Thanks for having me on, man. It was great talking with you.
You bet. Once again, this is Ken French with Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Always love hanging out with you guys, adding some value. Thanks again, you guys.